because he put the Muslim ban and he, you know what I mean? They're just coming of age. So the young people that are Muslim now are not like the young Saudi accepting, you know what I mean, fitna absorbing Muslims. The Muslims now know that whatever they are, they're all Muslim, you know. And they're following the hadith. If you say La ilaha illallah, Muhammadan Rasulullah, the extra stuff you do on the side, whether you're Hanafi, Maliki, Sunni, Shia, it don't make no difference to them. You go on campus now, all the kids are praying together. And they hanging out together. Why? Because they're Muslim. Right? Technically, the rest of the university or the high school consider them they part of the Muslim gang. Right? And even the Muslim boys is not scared as they was. The Muslim boys used to be very cowardly. Over at Dar al-Hijra, my grandson was staying with me a while. You may remember he was staying with me, and then when I would go to programs, I would take him with me. So at that time, I'd say he was 15. He was at Dar al-Hijra. So during the program time, he was hanging out with all the other kids, right? So they was out going around, and all the kids said, "Those are our bikes." The Latino kids judged them as being sweetie pie, so they took all their bicycles. My grandson is from the Negro community. So he went up and took all of the bikes and gave them back their bikes. And then they came and told the people there, and they told me, "He is very brave. Your son, your grandson is very brave." I said, "He ain't brave, he's normal." Right? You can't go take nobody's bike. We used to take, white kids' bikes. I mean, we didn't even take white kids' bikes. They just all had bikes, and they would park them all over the place, and we would find them. So I tell my mother, You found a brand new bike?" "Yes, ma'am, brand spanking new. I found it." Because East Oakland was, you go up a few blocks. You know what used to have, there was a line or a street. We live on this side. Okay, below East 14th, the black people lived, and above East 14th, the white people lived. I mean, right up there. And they all had bikes, new bikes. This is after the war. And this is during the economy of the 50s. The husband worked, and they had a brand new Chevrolet, brand new house, just for the husband work. Try that now, see if it'll work. You can't pull that off no more. Anyway, so we would find new bikes all the time. They were all white kids, but their parents brought them another bike. It was no big deal. But we was finding stuff, We were very fortunate. Because whatever you wanted, you could just find it, Anyway, the point was the environmental circumstances at that time is different than the environmental circumstances now. And our young people that are Muslims are fitting into the environmental circumstances now. They're not apologetic. The MSAs on campus now, they're not apologetic about Islam. And remember, just a few years ago, they joined the sister city with the city in St. Louis, not St. Louis, where they had a problem? Ferguson, and one of the cities in Palestine. Remember, they became sister cities, right? Mm-hmm. Look at here. We have a different environment now. That's why our language, if you notice, our language is very inclusive now. It's inclusive because we're living in a period where the struggle is not, the Muslims in America are not going to save America. Not fast enough. Right? America's on such a decline and moving down so fast and polluting and nastying up the environment so fast. And the Zionists are turning into the number one hater and being hated of people all over the world. They just doing what they want in front of everybody, and it ain't no, you know what I mean, which is good. Technically, it's not good, the oppression that our people get from it. It's not good that they leave the water polluted and nasty and the people are getting sick. But if you look at the population, the population in Palestine and amongst the Muslims is outgrowing the Zionists, and immigration is slowing down. And in Israel itself, when you take the Ethiopians that go over there and they getting beat upside the head, well, we're Jews. Yeah, but you niggas, you got to remember, y'all. Remember the Negroes that went over there, the Bani Israel tribe, the brothers from over here? Man, they had to stay parked out there in the 70s for a year or so. They wouldn't let them in. Now I just saw in the thing that they sending a few back because of whatever they are, they Negroes. You have to get and remember, they wasn't even taking Ethiopians' blood. They wasn't taking the blood. They said, you guys, that stuff, that blood, y'all got all them diseases and everything. And they said, we are white folks. And that is clear to everybody. We have a concept of Zionism, but it's white Zionism. If you come from the Arab world, you're a second-class citizen. If you're Ashkenazi, and Ashkenazi, Sephardim, if you're Ashkenazi and you come from Europe, you're in the driver's seat, right? You're in the driver's seat right now, today. If you came from Morocco or like Yemen, I hear the Yemeni Israelis, they got their, each crew is beginning to, and they're oppressed in there because they look at them as Arabs. You guys are more Arab than you are, well, European. Of course they are, right? And so all the things that plague America, when you get a picture of the Zionist state of Israel, you think it's just one solid, everybody is in harmony. Not so. Remember our home folks, they going to jail every other day. They hating against the Zionist state. In fact, they don't talk, we don't talk nothing like they do about the Zionists. They call them pork eaters and slime balls. I said, man, I was almost going to say racist. That's cold-blooded the way. But they hijacked, they stole. They're talking about Zionism is Judaism. Years ago, they said Zionism is not Judaism. But now they're harmonizing Zionism and Judaism. Okay, the real Hebrews, the real Jews don't like that at all. In fact, they hate them. And they're swine eaters. They call it white steak. You go to Jerusalem and you just order white steak. Pork. Right? They got a pork on the menu. It don't say khanzir, or it don't say pork. It says white steak. And they be sitting there, I don't know if y'all remember when you used to pop that center of, you was born Muslim, right? But a lot of us remember that pork chop, you know what I mean? When you pluck that, shoot. Yeah, they call it white steak. And they got people in Jerusalem going to a hotel ordering white steak, pork. You know what I mean? And the rabbis are going crazy. Anyway, Uh, so here we are in America. I want you to think about our mission in America and the time that we're living in. We're not living in a time where we are necessarily pushing for isolation from the American society. We want to cooperate with it, and we want to cooperate with the world, right? And remember, if we were to save all the Muslims, it wouldn't do no good because they're going to drown in the ocean. The ocean would be right up here in 2 more weeks. Well, I mean, not that quick, but right? Or if you're saving them to choke to death, right? In other words, we talked about it before. Mizan, Wazan, Allah created the whole creation with balance, right? We want to help the world get back in balance. That's why these are old letters 10 years old, that we, passed out. But it let people know very early that the Muslims, the Christians, and the Zionists, we say that we want to make a world where Esau or Jesus or Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and Musa alayhi salam would all be happy with that world, right? They're all prophets. They're all anbiya, right? Okay. The perfect laboratory is right here in America. The perfect laboratory for that is right here in America. Because everything in America is headed in our direction. The great America that used to be, it don't exist anymore. Right? If you think of America of a time when there was a lot of racism and there was this and that, but one thing about that period, boy, they had it good materially. And most Americans are materialists, right? Okay, they had white picket fence neighborhoods all over America. Very little crime, right? They had all the church houses was full of people. So they had, for them, that was their heyday. Post-World War II was heyday for America. That was a few years when they just had it good. Factories is booming. Everybody else has been destroyed, and they're holding up, they're the world managers. They had the Marshall Plan to help everybody. And then the people that they beat in World War II, they said, we're going to do different in World War I. Instead of charging them for what they did, we're going to help them get up. Why? Because they're natural leaders, right? Germany and Japan was natural leaders, right? So they said, you can't keep them down, so we incorporate them. So they rebuilt Germany, rebuilt Japan, and both of them is rolling right now from way back then, right? Because they're natural leaders. They left China out. Oh, there's a lot of people had too much work. And then when they brought China on board, China tricked them. Do you know why the Americans are hating China so bad right now? Does anybody have an idea? Why is that? They accepted the prosperity, but what didn't they accept? Democracy. They didn't accept that. They said they got to rolling about Chinese characteristics, socialism with Chinese characteristics. They said, oh my goodness. At that, when what's the name gave that speech 2-3 years ago, might have been 2017, 18. Boy, look here. That's when they think about it. Before, they were still on a romantic train. It's possible, everything is possible. But when China rejected, no, we're not going to come out. Democracy is not working for you, and it never has worked. So why should we accept something from you that has never worked, and ours is working perfectly? In 40 years, we done jumped out of the poorhouse, and we rolling. And we're going up, and you going down. Right? Oh, they mad. It's too late, though. Okay, now, when you look at the world, I'm not going to be too long. When you look at the world that we're living in. The world that we live in, there are